All right, looks like we got it, Mark, 10 o'clock.
All right, fantastic. So thanks so much for making a choice to invest time in yourself. This is deep dive number 11. We're going to talk about the 4 myths of learning. And I want to start off by asking a couple of questions. And the first question that I have for you is, and we have these set as polls, so be ready to answer them, is what percentage, if you think about all the employees in your company, what percentage of employees in your company are in a leadership role? So what percentage of employees in your company are in a leadership role? 20%? Is it 40%? Is it 60%? What is it? All right. So Anja, you want to post the results? Yeah, fantastic. So really, it's a trick question right now. Is everyone in your company should be viewed as a leader. And that's just the environment that we live in today. And so 100% of people in your company, the employees who are in your company, are considered in a leadership role. All right, so next I have another question for you. Another question for you is, what percentage of employees currently have the skills and the tools to lead in today's disruptive 2023 environment? So what percentage of employees have the leadership skills to lead in 2023? So is it 10%, 30%, 60%? What percentage of employees have those leadership skills that are needed today? All right, we'll just wait for a couple more. All right, so fantastic. But Anja, post the results. Good. It turns out that only 18% of leaders or people in your company possess those leadership skills needed to lead today. So here's the challenge that we have. We have 100%. We should be viewing all of our employees as leaders, but only 18% have the skills and the tools to lead today. And today, what I want to talk to you about, now you can get the poll off of the screen, is today what I want to talk to you about, and the objectives that we have for this call is I want to review the 4 learning myths. And I want to talk to you about how you can learn to be a better leader and how you can teach everyone else in your company to be a better leader. Now, the content that we're going to do, okay, let's see if this works. All right, the 4 leadership learning myths. Additionally, what we want to do is we want to take a look and develop micro learning opportunities and give you some thoughts and ideas on those. And then finally, what we want to do is make sure that the objectives of the call are going to be met. So we want to review those 4 learning myths, develop the micro learning objectives, talk about the special, and then we're going to end with special announcements. So the 4 myths of learning. So our team, we eat our own dog food. So if you don't know that, part of our daily ritual that we have is we've cut up a book and we're reading 6 pages every single day. Latest book that we're reading is called Hardwired to Learn. Fantastic book, if you get a chance. And a lot of the concepts that I'm going to talk to you about today are out of this book, books by Terry Hart. But the first myth that people think about when they think about leadership is intelligence is fixed. And so intelligence, who we are. And what this turns out to be is, it turns out to be a really self-limiting belief. It can be something that we talk to ourselves and say, hey, I'm not really good at this. So when we think about this, and Anja, we have another poll that's going to come up here, is I have a question for you. If the myth is intelligence is fixed, what percent of leadership, though, is learned? What percent of leadership is learned? So Anja's got a poll up on the screen.
Yep, got it.
What percentage of leadership is learned? All right, so we have, you can share those results, Anja.
All right, they're sharing right now. And then when I stop sharing, you're gonna have to exit out on your own screen also.
Yep, sounds good.
Perfect.
And so what you can see is it says share results. So share results, we'll do that. And then we'll stop sharing. Okay, So what we can see and what you have to understand is that 90% of leadership is learned. And so this is a huge myth. If we can overcome this, we can really understand that each of us has inside of us this tremendous learning capability. We have this tremendous skill, and we just need to be able to tap into it. And hopefully this gives you the confidence to feel that you can be a better leader, but also hopefully gives you the confidence that you can help others be a better leader. And, you know, when we talk about what's happening inside of the brain, and Terry goes into this pretty deeply, is the anatomy of the frontal cortex. It's part of the brain that's responsible for many of the high area complex functions that we have. And there's different lobes that are there. And basically, the larger the surface area that's there, means that there's a large opportunity to make the synapses and all the new pathways, make them work together a lot better. And these connections are really vital to learning. So just having an understanding that we have this brain that has, you know, over 3 billion neurons and all of these different synapses that are in there, and it's continuing to grow. And it weighs only 3 pounds, and it's powered by a light bulb. I mean, we have this really powerful tool at our hands. And so the cerebral cortex, it's really important to make sure we understand that. Another concept that Terry talked about was, and she put this in the book from a woman named Kimberly Noble. She's a pediatrician and she's a neuroscientist. And what it said is that the experiences that we have, they form our brain. And so our brain is not just fixed, there's what's called neuroplasticity. You might have heard about this. And what it means is that as we have different experiences, our brain adjusts and our brain grows from those experiences. And so what you can look at this is maybe you're not really good at something initially and it feels really uncomfortable. That doesn't doom you for the rest of your life to be stuck in that situation. What you have to do is you have to work through and you have to grit it out. And our biological makeup is what helps us to continue to learn. And again, these are two really key concepts, that it's not fixed and there's neuroplasticity. Now, Carol Dweck, you might have heard of her book. She has the book talking about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And those who have fixed mindsets, they believe that their abilities are fixed, that they were born with what they're born with. And like Popeye, I am who I am. And they're less likely to be able to adapt and thrive in any type of changing environment. And what are the environments that we're living in today? You know, changing. Now, the opposite of that is a growth mindset. And so in the book, Terry Hart talks about Carol's research in and around fixed mindsets and growth mindsets. And so growth mindsets have to be developed. One of the great ways to do that is in the tool. You know, every single day we talk about reading 6 pages. This is reading a book, and the book is split up. And what we can do is every single day we can attack and hit that neuroplasticity that's inside of our brains. And we can start shaping and forming our brain and who we are, and add different skills and tools. Now, the library that we have online is really, really powerful. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about that, how you can take advantage of it, and how you can use professional development every single day to build. So this is micro learning skill number 1, when we talk about shattering the myth that leadership and what we're born with is fixed. Let's go to number 2. It really has to do with learning styles. Now, in her book, this shocked me, because it said, and the myth is that people have different learning styles. What it really talks about, what she really analyzes, and it shifted my mindset a little bit, is studies that conclude that there was no link to increased intelligence in a specific way of learning. And so we all learn the same way. Our brain works the exact same way. But individuals, they have different types of styles that they like to learn, and they gravitate towards this. So they have these learning strategies, and they have these approaches that they prefer. But what she found unequivocally was that their learning styles, the learning styles didn't contribute any more or any less to them being more intelligent. So this is a really important thing, is that we have to take a look at different types of avenues to learn and make sure that we're using all of those, because that's where we get the best opportunity to continue to gain great leadership skills. So it's really in and around preferences. And these are the preferences that she talked about. And there's visual, people like to watch videos, there's auditory, some people like to just listen to, maybe a podcast. You can read, people read and they write and they journal. And then there's learning through doing activities. So when we have this, though, narrow thinking, what it causes us is to miss other opportunities to learn. And when we think about learning, it should be really a surround sound approach that we take. And we are able to use each and every single one of these. So do we have another poll here, Anja, for the 85% rule?
No, we do not.
Okay, good. So one of the things that if we can understand this, if we can understand that learning is uncomfortable, we're going to be able to get to higher levels and have more intelligence and have more opportunity to learn new skills. Now, this is a study that was noted in Terry's book, and was from the University of Arizona. There's a professor named Robin Wilson, and he was collaborating with Brown University, UCLA, and Princeton. It came up with this 85% rule. And this was pretty fascinating for me. They're trying to find what was the optimal level of success that caused the highest levels of learning. And they found out that if someone takes a test and they get an 85 on it, that means they got 15% wrong. And what that does is that means that there's areas and opportunities where the person can learn more. Now, if we all take a test and we just get 100% on it, we're not putting ourselves out there. If we take a test and only get a 20% on it, then that can be very damaging. So this was a really neat way to think about this. And a lot of times when we get an 85% on a test, we say, hey, we did really well, but we can get better. And so as you think about this for yourself, as you think about this for others who are in your company, just think about this 85% rule. And again, we want to have 85% success and 15% failure. Now, one of the great books, we've read this, it's in our library also, it's by Angela Duckworth. The book is called Grit. If you haven't read this, life-changing, not only for business, but also for you personally and how you lead your life. And you have kids, there's some great concepts that are in here too. But she found that achievement in life was really not solely based on talent. Talent only gets you so far. She found out there were two key factors, and it was a blend of perseverance and it was a blend of passion. And she took both of those and said, hey, I'm going to call that grit. Now, she makes it clear that talent exists and certainly does. There's people who are more talented in different aspects of life, but that making an effort and having perseverance and working through challenges, that can be the determining factor of whether you take your talent to be a tremendous skill. And you can just think about times where maybe a learning style didn't really fit you and of how you learned and you walked away from that opportunity. Think about walking away from an opportunity where you're going to be able to grow and you're going to be able to learn. And you might find that, hey, after I do this 3 or 4 times of just listening to a podcast, hey, I actually like this, and I'm going to have opportunities that maybe when I'm in my car, I listen to a podcast. So I just want you to be really open to the different opportunities that we have to learn in these different avenues and channels. Now, learning can be really difficult at times, especially when we're trying to do something new. A lot of times when I'm coaching leaders and they're like, hey, I feel really uncomfortable in doing that, I liken it to if we have our strong hand and we're writing. So I'm left-handed. So if I'm writing with my left hand, I don't even think about it. I just go through and write out whatever I want to write. But if I were to take the pen and I were to shift it into my right hand, it would initially feel really uncomfortable. My natural thing to do would be say, hey, this feels so uncomfortable. I'm going to go back to what I'm used to. my left hand. But you can find that if you do this for about 3 weeks where you start writing with your right hand, it starts becoming more comfortable. And then it starts becoming something that you can use. So, so just think about it from that perspective. It's going to be normal that this is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So micro learning skill number 2 is really making sure that you've defined your inspiring story. Now, we talk about this as being your brand purpose, your top 5 values, and the vision for your organization. Now, your culture, it might be really uncomfortable to those who don't fit in, and that's okay, because we want to make sure that we can help those people find cultures that they really do fit in. And so getting really clear on your inspiring story is going to help, because if people aren't passionate about where they're working, then it's going to be harder for them to establish that grit, because part of grit is really passion. And remember, the second piece is perseverance. And what we always say is, if you can open up someone's heart, you can open them up and they feel passionate about what they're doing, then you can invite discipline in, and they're going to be a lot more likely to go through that uncomfortableness that we all initially feel when we're learning something new. So micro learning skill number 2 is to make sure that your inspiring story is very, very clear for your company. All right, so those are the first 2 big myths, and we give you each a micro learning skill in each one of those. Number 3 is the same strategies that got us to where we are today, they're going to continue to work going forward. And there's a lot of old methods that we are so used to. So the old methods and strategies, though, there are new methods that you need to take advantage of. And I want you to just think about, if you were having a knee surgery today, if you walked in and your doctor recommends an approach and a procedure that really is from the 1980s, while that worked in the 1980s, that isn't how they do knee surgery today. And I'm astounded sometimes, because people have knee surgery today, and in the 1980s, they were in a hospital for 3 weeks. Today, the knee surgery is not as invasive. And what happens is, within a few days, even that day, people are able to go home and people are actually walking. So that's just one example. Another example is in sports. We can learn from sports. A lot of sports used to be, hey, just practice the technical aspect of either hitting the ball or catching the ball. And what they found is that in doing studies, they found that the new method is, you can still practice the technical skill of the sport, but if you do it in a more real world situation, they found out that those skills get you ready for game time. And there's a famous saying that says, you ultimately perform how you practice. And so, as much as possible, how can we get ourselves, how can we get other people in our company to be in real world, real game situations? Now, I love this story that's in the book, and it's of Julia Child. Now, she's a woman who was born in 1912. After college, she was a research assistant at the CIA. She met her husband, and then she needed to prepare, at that time, she needed to prepare for more of a married life. And this was in the 1940s, obviously very different times, and where she would be the main caregiver. Now, Julia enrolled in a cooking school in the United States, and she said, hey, my cooking was awful. Now, what happened was she and her husband moved to Paris, and she was so impressed by her first French meal that she decided to enroll in a French cooking school, even though she felt really, really uncomfortable about this. And she was the one who, when came back to the United States, she was the one who was able to learn and really introduce the French cuisine to Americans. And she became one of the world's all-time favorite chefs, teaching people how to cook. Here's the quote that she said: "No one is born a great cook. One learns by doing." So what are the learn by doing opportunities? So here's micro learning skill number 3. Now, we talk about this, and it's called 40-70, and let me explain it to you. In today's era of tremendous disruptions, it's really important that we continue to evaluate, maybe an old system we had about making decisions. But old system was like, hey, when I make that decision, that's my final decision and it has to be 100% right. And so that's not really serving us today because the speed of business, the disruptions are happening so fast. So what we teach people to do is we teach them that, hey, if you have enough information right now that you believe that the answer and the choice that you're going to make is 40% correct, above 40% correct, you're encouraged to make that decision. If you wait till you're above 70%, you've waited too long. Now, when you use this tool, you help people unfreeze themselves because a lot of people are frozen that want to make the right decision and it feels uncomfortable. And so what it allows people to know is that, hey, it's okay to be uncomfortable to make that decision. It's not your final decision and you can course correct your way to success. So micro learning skill number 3 is to be able to do this in any setting. You can do it in your daily meeting. You can do it in a weekly meeting. You can do it when you have a challenge and you've brought a team together. So this 40-70 rule is really, really important. And it allows people to learn how to be decision makers in the moment. And being a great decision maker today is one of the top leadership skills that you need to have. All right, so let's get to the 4th and final myth, is that as adults, we stop learning. You know, when we're younger, we've learned everything we need to do. We're in formal schooling, and then we go to secondary education. And although, you know, the body ultimately in later years slows down, it shows that we can continue to learn throughout our entire life. So again, this 4th myth is that we stop learning as adults. So I do believe we have a poll for this one, and Anja, put it up on the screen. So according to Pew, what percentage of individuals are lifelong learners? So what percentage of individuals evaluate themselves as lifelong learners? All right, we're looking for just a couple more seconds.
Waiting for a couple more to come in. All right, we'll end the poll. Oh, some more coming in.
There we go. So what percentage of people identify themselves as lifelong learners?
All right, I ended it.
All right, you can share the results, Anja.
Sharing the results now.
Okay, so it actually turns out that 73% of people consider themselves lifelong learners. So, and I want you to consider yourself a lifelong learner also. So micro learning skill number 4 is going to be able to do that. And one of the greatest places that we continue to learn is in doing the daily stand-up meeting. That's where we're learning in the moment. We're learning how to be a leader. And what you have to do is, because we recommend that you rotate the leader of the meeting. What you are to do is you're to lead the meeting, you're to facilitate the meeting, and your goal is to make sure people come to the meeting excited about the meeting, and then they leave that they've gotten something out of the meeting and they're ready to go. And so in our meeting structure, first 5 minutes is about reading 6 pages of a book. And it's less about what you actually read. It's more about putting you in a situation where you have to read 6 pages. You might not have the entire chapter that you can write, you know, fully what happened later on. So it puts you in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, but how do you take and read something that's 6 pages? How do you concisely put together 2 or 3 points? And then how do you share that with others? And then how do you get others so that they get engaged and you get their opinions in? Now, this mimics what has to be done when there's some type of decision that needs to be made or some type of challenge that needs to be overcome. You're pulling together a team. You as the leader need to talk about and summarize what are the key challenges. You need to get other people's input. And then from that, you need to create a 40-70 decision. Just take that next step. And so the micro learning skill number 4 is in the daily meetings to be able to do this. Now, one other great thing that happens in the daily meeting is that people mimic each other. So if we have a daily meeting where 6 people involved and I run the meeting in a certain manner that I want to run it in, someone else in the meeting might say, hey, I like how Marc approached that. And what they'll do is they'll adopt that for themselves too. And so there's a lot of learning that happens from that aspect, because humans, we mimic each other. That's how we were built. And it's born inside each and every single one of us. And here's a great example to show that. So I have one girl, she's dancing, the other girl, not sure what to do. And then what happens? Yeah, and then they're all getting down. So this is inside each and every single one of us, is that humans mimic other humans. So those are the top 4 myths. And if we can break through these myths, number 1 myth, intelligence is fixed. It isn't. Number 2 is that different learning styles, people have different learning styles. They learn the exact same way. They have preferences for different learning styles. So just be open to those different learning styles, even for yourself. Number 3 is that the old methods that we had are still going to work. Now, a lot of the things do still work as the foundation, but there are some new tools and learn by doing. And then number 4 is that we stop learning. We should continue to learn throughout our entire life. And our brain is set up and our body is set up to allow us to be able to do that. So those are the 4 myths. It's really, really important. Here's a couple other statistics for you. 79% of employees say that learning increases their engagement and how they view the company. And 87% of employees say that learning is a really, really important aspect in choosing a place to work. And one thing I read this morning too, I'll just add in, is that 56% of employees who aren't seeing growth opportunities at their company and leadership opportunities to learn, they're looking for other opportunities, not inside of your company. Unfortunately, they're looking outside your company. So if we can break down these myths, we can do these simple things every single day. And I would lean into what B.B. King said. He said, the best thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. All right, so I've talked about the 4 myths of learning. I've given you 4 micro learning skills that you can learn, but I'm just going to open it up to any questions that anyone might have.
And Mark, since we're getting towards 10:27 here, I think we only have time for 1 question right now. We can answer some more later.
Yeah, got it. What myth surprised me the most? I think the myth that surprised me the most was the learning styles. That we actually learn the exact same way, but there's different styles that we learn. And so for me, I love watching videos, but I don't so much like listening, to podcasts, but that's opened up my mind to listen to it. Now I've started adopting it, and I found times, instead of listening to the radio, during a drive, I find times that I'm actually listening to some of the podcasts and being able to use that as a different channel. So I think for me, that probably surprised me the most. All right. What other micro learning opportunities should I look for? So, I just went through 4 of the learning opportunities that we have, but we have an entire university. I'm going to talk about that next, of the different learning opportunities they have. Employees, a statistic came out, employees say that they want to learn like 3 or 4 minutes every single day. They don't want to learn 30 minutes every single day. So what are the 3 or 4 minutes that are learning every day? So there's opportunities that you can teach people and you can teach them. And we have an entire framework in and around that. So I see there's a couple other questions, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So I want to talk to you about some of the ways that you can take learning strategies and professional development at your company to a higher level. As you know, we launched the university 6 weeks ago. And the university now enables you to not only take a look at what's been preset in there by us, but you can also now take and adjust this specifically for your company. And so you are able to take and build and upload your content for more micro learning specifically to your situation, or maybe even your department. So if you have a sales team and you want to create a channel for the sales team, you can create that channel and you can upload either videos or books to that channel. And it's a great place where you can say to people, hey, why don't you go there and I want you to watch the first 3 videos and let's have a conversation. And it was really important that we bring this customization to you because companies are going down that path right now. They're creating internal universities. And we want to give you the opportunity to take your content that's really important and be able to have that at a place where every employee can have access to it. So here's what that looks like. You can add your own book. On the lower left-hand side of the screen inside of the university, you just click on the button, and then you can add the content. You can add where the book is at. We'll automatically bring in the thumbnail of the book.
That's actually only for the video. For this one, you do have to add in that thumbnail.
Okay, sounds good. And then you just click the button as next. And then you can add in the different page breaks that you want to see your team read through. We always say 6 pages. It really is it about 5 or 6 minutes? So it's dependent upon the print, how big the print is, how small the print is. So you can add in what the page splits are, and then you can see that it's added to your specific community, and it's your plan. It's the books that are important to you. Now, these are just going to show for your company. They're not going to show to any other companies who also are creating their own universities. Additionally, you can take a look and you can add videos. And so you can see here in the upper right-hand side, you can add the video. This one pulls in the thumbnail. You just put the URL in, and then you can add some notes down below it, and you can just click on it and add, and you can see that that's added to your specific university that you have. All right. So Anja, anything else on that the community needs to know about?
No, those are the 2 simplest ways to be able to add a video or a book that is customized to your company or something that's there. We are looking forward to seeing what books you guys add to each of your plans.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. So other opportunities for learning. Just want to make sure everyone knows we have our Orlando boot camp. We're excited to travel all the way across the country, provide opportunities for companies in Florida and on the East Coast to be able to attend the boot camp September 17th through 19th, Fast Attack Boot Camp. The pricing is this, your investment, $6,500 for the first person, $1,500 for each additional team member. Up until May 31st, we have early bird, 10% off. So if you want to take advantage of that, contact Liesl Koehler, and Anja, maybe you put her information in the chat.
I'll do that now.
And we'll do that. And then if you're wondering, hey, should I come to boot camp? Should I not? Is it something that I do for myself? Do I bring the team? If you have more questions on it, we're going to have a behind the scenes. Anja's going to, or Liesl's going to pull back the curtain. This is on May 30th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, 9:30 Pacific. So again, this is just a great way for you to get an understanding of what's actually happening at boot camp, to see what type of investment you do want to make. Finally, you're looking for other micro learning opportunities. I'm excited to announce that it's been a dream of mine to always have a podcast, and I just never knew the best time and the best place to be able to do that. And so Servicing Leaders is launching this month. We're going to take a look in where leadership is happening in the unlikeliest of places, and in those unlikeliest of places, hopefully we can take a look at it, and you can find ways that you can take how people are leading their lives in untraditional manners. You can take a look and see how you can apply that to yourself. All right, so that is it. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to invest and coming to today's deep dive, and make it a great day.
All right, make it a great day, everyone.